Now that we've heard from all of our innovative leaders who are doing the groundwork of these amazing new technologies and industries, it's time to hear about how all of this adds up to transforming our state's economy and trajectory. I'd like to welcome Chris Camacho. Chris is President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council and one of the founding members of PEI. Chris's particular expertise in emerging technology, tax policy, and international economic development have equipped him to be one of the state's most impactful leaders when it comes to our economic future. Chris, thanks for joining us today. We can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Dean and Grace, for being great hosts today. And I know I have a few short minutes to kind of close this up here, so I will be brief, but just want to congratulate the entirety of the network that's been involved in today's event, and really to celebrate the good work in blockchain and certainly wearable technologies, but also the STC work with ASU and many of the partners that have come together to make this possible. I think about and reflect over the last decade the kind of economic transformation that we've experienced. And those of you that are still on the program today that were here a decade ago, this is a very different economy. I had the pleasure of kicking off last night the Venture Madness program across the street here in downtown Phoenix, where we were celebrating. Now we have 13,000 technology companies here in the market, with over 770 software companies that have been launched now here in the market. So the difference from a decade ago is you can touch and feel the change, and it's capital, it's ideation moving into commercialization to new products being formulated. None of that would be possible without this approach of really building really robust STEM talent, like the last gentleman was talking about, the scale in which we're placing new students into fields that matter, that are relevant, that meet the demands of industry today, coupled with the capital formation approach with the many partners have been involved in that enable us to place the capital, that risk capital into place, that enable these companies to get through their seed rounds and ultimately to A and B rounds and beyond. And some of these companies now, just in the last few short months, have become unicorn status. I remember the days of old where we may get one of those a year if we were lucky. Now we're getting a number of those kind of companies that are scaling significant revenue, but just as important, scaling new employees in our community. At the same time, this is incredible pro-business environment. And I try to use the mindset of 10 years ago where we were growing as a community, but we certainly were not growing in dynamism. And I think about the public policy leadership that we've seen out of Governor Ducey, certainly the legislators that you heard from today. They're committed to focusing on the innovation intensity, the critical modern infrastructure, and certainly the throughput relating to STEM to meet industry demands of tomorrow. And without all of those things moving in a flywheel or an ecosystem, we would not be in the fortuitous position we are today. And so, a few final remarks, I'll share is that we're on the precipice of one of the most unique trends that I've seen in my 20 years doing economic development, this first cycle around semiconductors. Semiconductors are obviously critical to every major connected device that exists in the world, and coming off the heels of Taiwan Semiconductor and Intel, and so many other legacy firms we've had in our market that are doing not just legacy things, but more importantly, new emerging technologies here in the Valley. We have become now the epicenter for a magnet for semiconductor talent, semiconductor company growth, and I'd like to say you ain't seen nothing yet. What's ahead is aligned with the engineering school at Ira Fulton that you heard Dean Squires talk about. This is a constant feeder system where we're reshaping the United States competency and depth in semiconductors, and we're one of the top 3 places in the country that's happening. So we're in the midst of the CHIPS Act, which is going through the reconciliation process in DC. That we expect that to really evolve over the next 60 days. And following that, there's a really unique opportunity with a science and technology center associated with the CHIPS Act. And we've worked closely with our partners at ASU and some national colleagues at how do we ensure the positioning of the Metro Phoenix market, and certainly the state of Arizona enables us to become that beacon of future, not only investment, but future minds coming together to advance the next generation of technologies. What that spillover effect creates is massive, significant jobs consequence and further economic diversity. all of these pieces go hand in hand. I'll just give you one other stat on the capital side that, again, it's a moving experience from 10 years ago, where if you look at the last 6 quarters alone, we've seen $7 billion of capital placed in our state. And that capital placement affords us to continue to evolve as a community and insulate ourselves against what we've seen in terms of thresholds of growth and single family commercial and even tourism and other mainstay industries. It's a good thing when we have these base industries become the dominant sector of growth, whereby now our manufacturing base in terms of jobs exceeding the base of construction jobs. So that's really what this is all about. It's about this transformational period we're experiencing here in Greater Phoenix, and we couldn't do that without leaders from the board at PEI, the education system coming together to ensure that we have a formulated strategy on innovation, on STEM, and we're working very closely with our key legislators that really understand the needs to make the right strategic investments. And what's also interesting to me as someone who's on the front lines working with the companies and the capital folks nationally and internationally, the general brand feedback that we garner is that really Phoenix is experiencing a rebirth, a transformation of sorts that's playing into this next industry 4.0 or industrial technology evolution that's happening in the United States. We're one of the very few places that has tailwinds of growth, tailwinds of people that want to move here and are self-selecting the quality of life attributes that our communities afford. But again, I don't want to take that for granted. We have to put ourselves in a position to compete in this global economy. And again, without this strategic direction that we've been able to garner and harness with key legislative leadership, county and city leadership, together with our private novel innovators, that's what makes this community tick. We're a spirit of kind of frontier mindset with this kind of culture of innovation, and we need to continue to play to that strength. And we have to do so in a nonpartisan, apolitical way that allows this community to become the most right place for entrepreneurs to be successful. So this is a constant dot connecting time for us. And again, I just want to close by thanking all of the speakers today, all of those that put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to ensure not only PEI is successful, but just as important, we're evolving this market in a way that we're all proud of. So with that, Dean and Grace, I want to thank you for leading this conversation today. I learned a lot too, just getting into the depths of conversations around blockchain and WhereTech and where we stand with the cohorts, and just the sheer capacity of our university community college systems that are building these minds of tomorrow. We're in an incredibly unique spot as a community. So thank you again, and we'll look forward to the next opportunity to visit.
Thank you, Chris. That was great. And thank you to everyone who's joined us today. As you've heard, there is an incredible opportunity for Arizona to position itself as a leader in innovation and economic growth with continued investment in the initiatives described and discussed today.
Yes, I'm leaving today very inspired and energized by all of our speakers and leaders. And again, a huge thanks to our esteemed panelists, all of you for your time and attention, and the production teams that help bring this event to life. So you can learn more about all of these exciting programs and initiatives here at azpei.org and impactarizona.asu.edu. So with that, I'm Grace O'Sullivan.
And I'm Dean Duncan, and this has been the State of Innovation Summit. Thank you.